Hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. As usual, Agam and I are here to wrap the markets for you. But before we go on to how the Nifty and in some of the individual stocks did today, we'll start by just sharing some background of some of the developments, global developments that unfolded today, and how the Nifty and the Indian markets, Asian markets reacted to that. And what I'm talking about is, of course, the Bank of Japan policy decision. So, Bank of Japan expanded the monetary stimulus. They said that they would adjust their policy as and when required and as needed to achieve that 2% inflation target. So they also said that they could expand asset purchases as an option. So that was the big news, monetary expansion coming on expected lines.
Right.
That's how it was. If we see how the markets reacted to that, well, Nikkei climbed the most and it ended with about 2% sort of gains. Now that was the biggest gain since 29th August.
And that was the biggest gainer in Asia as well today.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, yes,
Right.
that was the biggest gainer. Japan 10-year bond yield that rose to 0% for the first time since March. Now that's a big thing. Yen fell about 0.8%, but recouped to end the session flattish. So Asian stocks, again, all of them ended in the green. You had Europe, which was trading with some good strength.
Right.
But when the Bank of Japan news came out, the Indian rupee depreciated by about 12 paise to 67.1367. Again, that was the weakest level that we have seen in about 3 weeks. So that's since 29th August. But again, by the end of our trading session, the rupee had recouped those losses and was trading flat. Of course, rupee trading, currency markets haven't ended for the day. 10-year bond yields fell about 0.5%, but and we also saw Nifty inching back above 8,800 after the decision came in. But yes, in the second half, we did see all those gains being wiped off. So Nifty has fallen about 50 odd points from the day's high to end just about flat.
Right.
Agam, what are you seeing as far as F&O trends are concerned?
So, between yesterday and today, there were a couple of things which changed and there were a few things that didn't change. So, what really hasn't changed is that lack of participation. We still haven't seen a lot of participation when it comes to the FIIs or, for that matter, our own domestic, traders. But when it comes to things that have changed, we've seen a little bit of more accumulation when it comes to the indices. So, the Nifty has seen an addition of around 3.5%, and the Nifty Bank has seen an addition of well over 8.5% towards open interest, but we don't know if these are long or short positions, and we will only come to know about this tomorrow. That's when the markets open, and of course these positions are building in to anticipate and take through what we are going to see today at 11:30 p.m. at IST time. That's where we have the Fed decision. That said, when it comes to options, we really haven't seen much moves, but given the fact that we've seen the Nifty move around the 8,800 mark, that's where looking at a lot of activity in today's day of trade. So let's consider this graph out here, and you'll see we've seen a jump in the 8,800 call. You know what that means? It means is that we have seen more writing, and we've seen more writing in the 8,900 call as well, and this means and indicates that at least one part of the market is betting against the Nifty going towards 8,800 and 8,900 over the next couple of days. So that's as far as the futures and options go. And we have seen some amount of build up in the indices as well. And we just have to wait and watch whether or not that is towards the short side. But for now, the indications are that at least some part of the market is betting towards the downside, Shraddha.
Okay. If you look at some of the Nifty movers also, where was really the selling pressure coming from, especially in the second half of the day? That's when we saw the Nifty come off and give up all its gains. So you had banks and cement shares that were doing weak. So if you look at some of the stocks, you have Bank of Baroda, you had SBI, you had ICICI Bank, all of these names seeing some pressure down over 1%. On the other hand, you had metal stocks which were really doing well. So you have Hindalco, Tata Steel amongst Bharti Infratel, Eicher Motors, which are some of the other top gainers. Now remember, Hindalco is up about 4.5% this week, so just within 3 trading sessions, and Tata Steel has also gained as much as about 3%. So metals continued with their positive momentum. Remember, we just heard yesterday that India is considering expanding the basket of steel products that attracts anti-dumping duty. So positive news as far as some of those metal names are concerned. Yes Bank was another name that I want to talk about. Again saw some good 1% gains after Similar gains that we saw yesterday also. So Macquarie has in its report said today that they're seeing a buying opportunity in Yes Bank post the recent 20% kind of a drop that they have seen. Deutsche Bank also retained their target on Yes Bank at 1400. So two positive calls that we have been seeing on Yes Bank after UBS's target price of I believe it was somewhere around 650, which was like a 50% downside. So some sort of a rebound that yes we did see on Yes Bank. But Agam, what are the trends that you saw in the mid-cap space?
Again, there's one corner of the market, and that is the Amtech Group companies. All of them have gained. In fact, one stock that is Castex Technology, that's hit an upper circuit of around 10%. And the next stock, of course, is again from the same group, GMT Auto. We've also seen Amtech Auto itself as well gain 6% today's day of trade. Edelweiss is one counter that everyone's keeping an eye on. Now we're hitting a 52-week high at around 121, and now this stock is up 100% on a year-to-date basis. So we have seen plenty of these counters. Along with that, a lot of dairy counters also doing well. Quality has gained about 5 to 6% today's day of trade. It's also up as much as 11% through the course of the last 5 days. Along with SL Propack, of course, which has announced that it is going to take over its joint venture in Germany, that is Deutschland, Germany, and that is going to be for around $32 million. So we have plenty of gainers today, and a lot of addition towards open interest, especially in the likes of PC Jeweler and Eicher Motors, which I have seen about good 15 to 20% increase towards fresh longs in both these counters. So these two counters can be eyed on, at least in tomorrow's day of trade. But that's as far as the mid cap goes. Of course, Eicher Motors is no longer a mid cap, but I had to mention it along with PC Jewelers because we saw so much open interest accumulation.
So we will be keeping an eye on those two names.
Yes, but I also want to know about ICICI Prudential and its update on its subscription.
Sure. So, Agam, till the second day we had seen a relatively weaker subscription. So, markets have started worrying about the subscription levels as far as that IPO is concerned. All of a sudden, we saw a markets expert who started talking about pondering over the company's valuations, price to embedded value of close to 3, which is said to be relatively higher. But a fantastic pickup on the third day of the IPO. It was subscribed nearly 5 times. So this is data that I had as of 2:30, 3 o'clock. I don't have updates after that. So QIB portion subscribed 7.8 times. The HNI portion 10 times. Retail was also fully subscribed, so 1.1 time is what they had seen. So overall, it has done well in terms of the subscription numbers. It's been fully subscribed
at the end of the day. I think that's what they wanted.
5 times.
Well, 5 times,
overall,
that's not a bad figure at all.
Plus, talking about IPOs, we have HPL Electric and Power that opens tomorrow. It's a smaller size. They're looking to raise about 360 crores, a smaller IPO, but that's another one that we are going to keep an eye out for. That apart, in a major overhaul, the cabinet today approved the advancing the presentation of the annual budget. So we are going to have the union budget earlier this time around, and they also scrapped a separate railway budget. So again, this was something that we had been hearing. Yes, so railway budget is going to be merged with the general budget, and I'm not sure if this is related, but I did see some movement in railway stocks also. So you had your usual railway related names like Texmaco, Titagar, Kalindi Rain, Connex Microsystems, Stone India. All of these were trading about 2 to 4% higher. So I'm not sure if this is
they're
anything
probably
to do.
preempting their gains of the 2 to 3 months before the budget. So I suppose if the budget has been called in advance by a month, I suppose you'll start seeing gains in some of these railway counters moving in.
We could, yes. And of course, if you talk about what next, well, the Fed outcome will come in tonight, and that will really determine how Asian shares will open, and of course how the Indian markets will react. Just to mention that the odds of a Fed rate hike tonight has risen from about 20% that we were talking about 2 days back to 22%.
Right.
So that's what we have.
Some gains, huh?
Yes, a very small change. I know in all likelihood we may not see anything. Of course, Janet Yellen's commentary is really going to be important because that is really going to guide markets with respect to if we have any hikes even coming in 2016 or no.
Yes.
So that's what we have for today, and of course we will see you back again tomorrow at the same time, 3:45 p.m. and we will have lots to talk about then, hopefully.
Certainly will. Yeah.
Thank you for watching Bloomberg Quint.